Have you ever sat in a room full of people and realized that the person who hates you most is your own sister? Because that's exactly what happened to me. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and 3 years ago, my sister invited me to her wedding only to publicly humiliate me in front of over 200 guests. She thought she had destroyed me. She thought everyone would laugh, and for a few minutes, they did. But then the church doors opened. A man walked inside. The moment my sister saw him, all the color drained from her face. The music stopped. The guests started whispering. And within 10 minutes, her perfect wedding was completely ruined. What nobody knew was that she had been hiding a secret for years. A secret that was finally about to destroy everything. And the person who exposed it was the last person she ever expected. Growing up, my sister Emily was always the favorite child. My parents never admitted it, but everyone could see it. Emily got the expensive birthday parties. Emily got the new car. Emily got the praise. And me? I got whatever was left over. Whenever Emily got into trouble, someone else was blamed. Usually me. I spent most of my childhood trying to earn the same love that she received automatically. But no matter what I did, it was never enough. When I graduated college with honors, my parents barely celebrated. When Emily dropped out after one semester, they said she was finding herself. That was the story of our family. Emily could do no wrong, and I could never do enough. Still, I loved my sister. Or at least I kept trying to, even when she didn't deserve it. And that turned out to be my biggest mistake. Because when Emily got engaged, everything changed. At first, I was happy for her. She was marrying a successful businessman named Daniel Harper. He was kind, respectful, and honestly, I wondered how someone like him ended up with someone like Emily. But that wasn't my business. A few months before the wedding, Emily asked me to be her maid of honor. I was shocked. We weren't close. In fact, we barely spoke. So when she asked, I thought maybe she wanted to repair our relationship. Maybe she had finally matured. Maybe she wanted us to become sisters again. I couldn't have been more wrong. The nightmare started almost immediately. Every week, she gave me impossible tasks. Planning parties, making decorations, running errands, handling guest lists, paying for things she conveniently forgot to reimburse. I spent thousands of dollars helping her prepare for that wedding, and every time I helped her, she found something new to criticize. Nothing was ever good enough, but I kept going because I wanted peace and because Daniel seemed genuinely grateful. Then, 2 weeks before the wedding, something strange happened. I accidentally overheard Emily arguing on the phone. She sounded nervous, panicked even. I wasn't trying to listen, but I heard one sentence clearly. Just stay away from the wedding. I'll handle it. A chill ran down my spine. Who was she talking to, and why did she sound afraid? When she noticed me nearby, she immediately hung up. Then she smiled, but it wasn't a normal smile. It looked forced, fake, and for the first time, I felt like she was hiding something. A very big something. Still, I ignored the feeling. I wish I hadn't. Because the wedding day arrived, and that's when everything exploded. The church looked beautiful. White roses everywhere. Crystal chandeliers, perfect decorations. It looked like something from a movie. Guests filled every seat. Family members were smiling. Photographers were taking pictures. Everything seemed perfect, at least on the surface. I arrived early to help, but the moment Emily saw me, she frowned. I thought she was stressed. Brides get stressed. So I didn't think much of it. Then, the ceremony began, and for a while, everything seemed normal. Emily walked down the aisle. Daniel looked emotional. Guests were crying. The vows were beautiful. People applauded. Everyone thought they were witnessing a fairy tale. They had no idea what was coming. A few hours later, the reception started. The ballroom was packed. Music played. People danced. Champagne flowed. Then Emily stood up and tapped her glass. She announced it was time for speeches. I smiled. As maid of honor, I expected to give a short speech about love and family. Instead, Emily grabbed the microphone and looked directly at me. The smile on her face made my stomach drop. Because suddenly, I realized something was wrong. Very wrong. She began telling embarrassing stories from my childhood. Stories designed to make me look pathetic. The guests laughed, then she showed photos. Old photos, awkward photos, pictures I never gave her permission to use. The room erupted with laughter. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. But she wasn't finished. Not even close. Then she made her final move. The cruelest one. She announced to everyone that I was single because no man could tolerate me. She called me jealous, bitter, lonely, desperate. 200 people turned to look at me, and in that moment, I felt completely broken. I could see people whispering. Some looked uncomfortable, others laughed, and Emily loved every second of it. I could see it in her eyes. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a joke. She had planned this. For months. Maybe years. I stood up and prepared to leave. Then something happened. The ballroom doors opened, and everything stopped. Every head turned. The music faded. Conversations died. A man stepped inside. Tall. Well-dressed. Maybe in his early 60s. The moment Emily saw him, she froze. The microphone slipped from her hand. It hit the floor with a loud crack. Daniel looked confused. The guests looked confused. I was confused too, because I had never seen this man before. Yet Emily looked terrified, not surprised, terrified. The man slowly walked toward the center of the room. You could hear a pin drop. Then he spoke. "Emily, we need to talk." Her face turned white. "No." That was all she said. Just one word. "No." The man looked at Daniel. Then he said something that changed everything. "I think your wife forgot to tell you who I am." Daniel frowned. The room became silent again. And then the man delivered the sentence that destroyed the wedding. "I'm her father," gasps echoed across the ballroom. People started whispering immediately. Daniel looked stunned. I felt like the air had been sucked from my lungs, because Emily's father was supposed to be dead. That's what everyone believed. That's what she had always told us. But apparently, that wasn't true. Not even close. The man introduced himself as Michael Reynolds, and then he revealed a story nobody saw coming. 26 years earlier, he had been married to Emily's mother. But after discovering repeated lies and financial fraud, he divorced her. Shortly afterward, Emily's mother disappeared with Emily, changing addresses, changing phone numbers, cutting off all contact. For decades, he searched for his daughter, but he never found her, until recently. The room was completely silent. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. Then Michael revealed the real bombshell. For years, Emily had secretly known exactly who he was, and she had been communicating with him behind everyone's back. The guests gasped again. Daniel stared at his bride. "What is he talking about?" Emily couldn't answer. Michael pulled out a folder. Inside were emails, messages, letters, proof, years of proof. Emily had lied to everyone, especially Daniel. But it got worse, much worse, because Michael wasn't there to reconnect. He was there because Emily had been demanding money, large amounts of money. For years, She threatened to expose private family matters if he refused. According to the documents, she had taken hundreds of thousands of dollars. Daniel looked physically sick. His hands were shaking. Guests started murmuring louder. The wedding atmosphere was gone, completely gone. But Michael wasn't finished. He revealed one final secret, the biggest secret of all. Several months earlier, Daniel had invested money into a business venture Emily recommended, a business supposedly run by one of her close friends. Except it wasn't. The company secretly belonged to Emily, and she had been moving money through it without telling him. Daniel's face changed instantly. He looked heartbroken, not angry, heartbroken, because in that moment he realized he had married someone he didn't actually know. Emily started screaming. She called Michael a liar. She accused him of ruining her life. But then Michael handed copies of the documents directly to Daniel. And everything changed. Daniel spent several minutes reading them. The longer he read, the worse his expression became. Finally, he looked up, straight at Emily, and asked one question. "Is any of this false?" She opened her mouth, then closed it. No answer. That silence said everything. The ballroom exploded with whispers. Some guests started leaving. Others pulled out phones. Emily's perfect wedding was collapsing right in front of her, and there was absolutely nothing she could do. Then came the moment nobody expected. Daniel removed his wedding ring, placed it on the table, and walked away. Just like that. No shouting, no dramatic scene, just disappointment. Pure disappointment. I watched Emily's face crumble. For the first time in her life, nobody was rescuing her. Nobody was defending her. Nobody was blaming someone else. She was finally facing the consequences of her own actions. And honestly, it was painful to watch. Not because she didn't deserve it, because she was still my sister, despite everything. The reception ended early, guests left, vendors packed up, the ballroom emptied, and Emily sat alone, surrounded by the ruins of the day she had spent years planning. The strange part, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel happy. I just felt tired. Years of pain, years of manipulation, years of humiliation. And now it was over. As I prepared to leave, Michael approached me. He smiled gently. Then he said something I never forgot. Sometimes people spend so much time trying to destroy others that they end up destroying themselves. And he was right. Emily's downfall wasn't caused by me, or Michael, or Daniel. It was caused by Emily, by her lies, her cruelty, her choices. A year later, I heard she moved to another state. Daniel never went back. Most of her friends disappeared, and the family finally stopped pretending she was perfect. As for me, I focused on rebuilding my life. I started my own business, made new friends, and for the first time in years, I stopped living in my sister's shadow. The woman who tried to humiliate me in front of hundreds of people ended up exposing herself instead, and that's a lesson I'll never forget. Because karma doesn't always arrive immediately. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it watches. And when the timing is right, it walks through the door when you least expect it. My sister's wedding changed my life forever. But it wasn't the first time my family broke my heart. And it definitely wasn't the last. There are still many chapters of my story I haven't shared yet. Stories of betrayal, heartbreak, painful family secrets, and the unexpected moments that changed everything. If you'd like to follow my journey and hear what happened next, stay with me and join me again for my next story. Until then, take care of yourselves.